Did we ever go over vegan in Los Angeles? I don't think we did.
No, in Toronto.
Did we in Toronto?
And we were talking about, it was in Toronto.
Oh, we did. We went out. Oh, we had
Where did we go?
Planta-Burger.
Planta-Burger, yeah. Pretty dope, by the way.
Good
yeah.
Planta-Burger. And I actually had that on a podcast already. It's so good. I'm spending so much money on a podcast. I told Adam today to make me a smoothie, and then we go out and buy one.
Sorry, yeah. I only got one. Do you want to sip?
I'll have a little sip. What is it again? Welcome back to fksalad. I'm here with my boy Adam.
What's up? Hi.
Adam is
Safety first.
Adam is a nice youngin that I met down in LA. He's actually my homie 12 AM's older brother.
Yeah. So basically, how I met Vince was I was traveling the world, and halfway through my travels, supposed to be like a 3-month trip, turned into about a year and a half, and traveled basically like Southeast Asia. And in Thailand, I ended up meeting this magician online, Julius Dean. If you guys have heard of him, have you heard of him before?
Well, actually, didn't hear him tell you, but
yeah, I didn't know who the hell he was when I met him in the hostel.
Yeah.
But anyways, he's actually like the internet's most viewed magician on social media. He did that big trick with Drake. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah, I did see that one.
So anyways, I ended up becoming his personal trainer after like dropping like a bunch of weight, and I built kind of like a brand online, and then he asked me to basically join him in Tel Aviv in Israel. So I like literally went from being a backpacker in Thailand with like a bag of clothes to going to the airport in a scooter, getting dropped off, and jumping on a plane to Israel and being immersed in this like crew, this magic crew, which was fucking pretty cool. And then after that, I flew back to LA to see my bro. That's where I met you, and we started helping to develop Goldie's Army. And thanks to this guy, he helped me grow, pretty substantially. Got me started, and I was able to grow my following from like 0 to 10,000.
Wow,
it wouldn't have happened without you. At the beginning, you started it. We went to Santa Monica, and it was like full shoot. I had no idea how to film content at all. I just knew what I saw from working with Julius and seeing how he captured content. So it was great to be able to jump in it and collaborate with you, and you get me started on kind of the beginning of the brand.
I'm glad I could help. I just remember that's not even my highlight with you. My highlight has to be that 10-kilometer run that just killed me that one morning.
Dude, it was 10 miles, wasn't it?
Yeah, 10 miles.
10 kilometers, in under 15 minutes.
Yeah. It was just like running in Los Angeles. It's just a different heat, and I was not used to it. Like I wussied out after. Well, I did my 10 or my 9.9 or whatever.
Yeah, you did it I think we did it under 15 minutes, which is what your goal was, right?
But at the same time, it's just that heat hits you so much differently than.
Yeah, you got to time the runs properly, and unfortunately for us, we just went at like the worst time, like 1 o'clock in LA, which is like, depending on where you are in LA, it could be very miserable. And where my brother lives in North Hollywood, it's the hottest part of LA. So it was definitely like a sauna.
He said you were a runner. He's like, be warned, like Adam knows his stuff. And I didn't doubt you for a second, but I'm like, okay, like a 10-kilometer run, what's it gonna do? And you brought it to the next level. You pushed me, and you helped, and so like you say, I helped develop your brand, but like at the same time, you had that drive and that push to not only just grow your own brand, but also to like inspire others, because that's kind of what you were doing there for a while with Goldie's Army, right?
Yeah. One of my big taglines, because I'm not a personal trainer, I wasn't then, I am now. I'm certified now, and I didn't have a background in nutrition or physiology, but I definitely had this drive to learn and understand. And in the world we live in today, whether you're creating content or you want to learn a new skill, it's all available online on YouTube. So I tapped into the podcasts. I read up on the books. David Goggins, shout out, big time. He kind of helped me with my mindset. And yeah, I just started hitting the road. And as I started losing like 10, 20, 30, I lost up to 60 pounds. I really started living. And one of the taglines on my page was being a guinea pig instead of a guru. And why that's important is I don't want to be a self-proclaimed Tony Robbins. I just wanted to show people that anybody with passion and a vision, with hard work and consistency, could get to where they want to be. And in doing so, it really helped inspire my friends back home and people online, where people would come to me and say, man, like, your videos are helping me quit my job, because I used to work in corporate finance, and hey man, like, your job inspired me to travel, and for me that was just like a huge bonus. So it kind of developed into something organically.
I feel like maybe personal trainers and nutritionists, they're starting to see obviously like the benefits of eating plant-based, right?
Oh yeah, man, and not just plant-based, but also like whole foods based, which is predominantly plant-based. And before, I used to like consume a lot of meat and beef and chicken, but then I watched that documentary on Netflix, which I'm sure like everybody that's watching has seen it. Just kind of.
Well, what is it?
What's it called?
Or recommend? Do you have one that you could recommend?
Yeah, for sure. It's called Game Changers on Netflix, and it's just about breaking through the assumptions around how being vegan, and from being able to get the right amount of protein to it being actually like all around good for you. Obviously you take that B12 supplement. But yeah, it opened my mind because it was from the perspective of a UFC fighter. So when I watched that documentary, I was inspired, and I started creating different 5-10 minute meals that are super easy to make, that take no time, that don't cost a lot, to be able to use for my clients. And one of the big things that I do with my clients is, aside from just personally training them, is we'll go to the grocery store with them, and we'll get the produce, and we'll go back and we'll cook it. We'll put it in MyFitnessPal.
Love that.
So that way you're educating people around empowering them to make good decisions, which can lead to greater consistency. And if they're more consistent, they're going to be happier, because they're getting better results at the end of the day.
I feel like you've definitely learned a lot since the last time I've seen you. The reason I asked that is like you're keeping up with obviously the personal training, but you're venturing off to Bali. Yeah,
exactly. So
you don't know where you are. You're not in Toronto.
Well, I'm not in Toronto. I'm about to adventure off again and go to Bali. After I've been there last year. I was there for 3 months, and I got to experience the entire island, and going out to Nusa Penida and Uluwatu and Canggu. And there's a really cool digital nomad community, content creating community. And when I started working with Julius, obviously I was put into that world, and I met his videographer, Lee, which, by the way, you should meet him. He's a cool dude. He's from Ireland.
That's good.
And Lee helped grow Julius's account and basically created all of his content with him. But we actually went to New York. He came to Toronto in the summertime, and we just hopped on the bus, and we just shot content for 3 days. We actually made a really cool video.
Don't be persuaded by fear and unknown. It's you who
We did
decides.
16-hour days for like 4 days straight, riding bikes all across New York, like Brooklyn Bridge. Ended up meeting up with a buddy of mine who was like someone that I was inspired by on Instagram as well, like a fitness model. DM'd him. He showed up at the bridge at 6:30 a.m. We got this awesome shot. We were running across the Brooklyn Bridge together. Shout outs to my buddy David, who let me stay with him in New York, who also was in the video, which is really cool. But at that point, I was like, here's a passion there. The reason why I want to go to Bali is not only to be able to pursue my fitness passion in Canggu, but also in Canggu specifically, it's a huge digital nomad scene. So there's tons of creatives, tons of influencers.
Right.
And now, from my experience in New York with Lee, we want to take that and focus on fitness and lifestyle, and do it in Bali together. So yeah, we're going to just bring the friends together. We're going to have a base in Bali. We're going to wake up, surf every day,
Right on,
climb mango trees, and
Love it.
Do some fitness and have a good life and have fun.
I didn't want to necessarily touch on like our age difference gap, but someone coming from like yourself, where you maybe didn't grow up with this much like social media, right? Or coming from like a huge corporate job. What is your kind of like, what's your take on this like whole world of of just like interconnectedness, social media? Because you're like big onto watching YouTube and TikTok now, like trying to study it, right?
Yeah, well, I'm lucky that I was able to get thrown into a situation where I'm working for a major influencer who creates content daily.
Right.
So hanging out with him and learning about, analytics and engagement and algorithms, it was cool, but it was super foreign. Like before I had met him, my Instagram following was like 800, and I wasn't creating content, and I was doing it for the wrong reasons in terms of what I was creating. It wasn't even creation. It was just like updates on what I would do in my life, like achievements in my career, something stupid. But I realized you could actually tell a story and express who you are through your passions. And that was really cool. And from getting the experience with Julius to being able to, work with Lee and also be able to work with awesome brands, seeing it on both sides, I think it's so fascinating now that like the new celebrities of today are people that are just going out there with the camera, having fun, making mistakes, and trying out different forms of content to see what clicks with this generation. And I find it fascinating because typically, these type of technological platforms are really great breeding grounds for culture.
Right.
And whether that's, and what's great about Instagram is there's just so many different, categories and interests that people, display for you to kind of jump into. So shout outs to the Nelt boys. Those guys are awesome. And, like FaZe Clan, even what my brother's doing, I think it's really cool. And it's definitely way more exciting than the corporate grind.
You're so passionate about this, and I enjoy hearing your passion.
What do you think though? What fascinates you about the new social platforms and where content's going? And
I think it's just because it's the unknown. Really, it's this world of
no rules.
No rules. Exactly that. You could break it down further and say no one's ever done this before. Our parents didn't lead a life like this or set themselves up and hop from job to job. So I think it's so easy to be passionate about it because I'm not scared of the unknown. You know what I mean? I think it's very good to embrace it. And I feel that's what I'm doing with this podcast. I feel you're clearly embracing it yourself.
Yeah.
I'm really stoked you are, because I feel maybe there's a lot of people in corporate who maybe feel the same way as you, or felt the same way as you, when you're stuck in corporate and then just don't know how to make the jump. I talk about a jump in another podcast, but I think with yours, it's you didn't really have you just went for it. You just went for it.
Yeah, but that's the beauty about social media as well. You can just go for something and it could work, and that could literally allow you to manifest a career that you've invented overnight. And that's what I find so fascinating. It's
right.
Completely democratic. You can do anything that you want to do, as opposed to feeling like you have to hit certain requirements or education or experience. You just need to go out and do what matters to you. And there's obviously an audience, because the majority of people that are on these channels are kids that are young and are just like us.
Yeah.
So it's why not appeal to those people and feel a connection than try to be someone you're not by putting on a mask and wearing a suit. Not to say that that's bad, and people that are working that path and that love it, that's awesome, but it just wasn't for me.
Right, of course.
And that's why I'm excited about it. And a lot of people talk about technology and say these platforms are bad, they cause antisocial communities and depression and all of these negative, but that's more of a scapegoat. And I think it can be those things, but it's how you want to direct as a tool for your own personal growth. And for me, I've used it as a way to understand my own creativity and to also share it with the world.
What would you say that's amazing. That's amazing.
Is it?
Yeah. What would you? I love that, man.
No response.
No. I actually I resonate with everything you're saying. I'm more kind of stumped on not with anything you said, but this idea of done. This is the idea. That's fine.
Bold.
This whole idea of trying to incorporate this vegan aspect into this conversation. Do you think that's something that I should really expand on, knowing that you're in that kind of fitness world?
Yeah, but man, honestly, I feel like everyone is now vegan and going plant-based and whole foods based.
Not everyone.
Not everybody, but there is a shift, I'd say, for people 25 and under. Just with the idea of podcasts and biohacking and supplementation and just reading, and also understanding that a lot of people that you're probably looking at on Instagram are living those lifestyles as well. Not to say Instagram is the biggest influencer, but we spend the majority of our time on our phones anyway today.
Yeah.
I even argue more time on our phones than actually talking to people in conversation.
Of course.
Do you believe in that?
I do agree in that.
It's kind of sad, isn't it?
It's the world we live in now, right? And I think my way of coping with it is bringing people into my car to have real life conversations.
Yeah.
And then monetizing it to the extent of making a video about it and putting it online. But I definitely feel this has been a genuine conversation.
Yeah,
And, like,
well, that's
something
how it should be. You
something
know?
that doesn't happen maybe so much anymore.
I think it happens, maybe not as often as it did before, but I think it's really cool that we're able to just kind of kick it, share our own thoughts and our own ideas, because maybe for someone that's watching, they'll say, well, man, that's really cool. I have another idea on that, because I feel like we get so like kind of pushed into a box of thinking where we all know the questions and the responses. And in my mind, it's just like sometimes that's just not totally authentic.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm really more interested in talking to people that have those different perspectives and different theories and different worldviews.
Well, wow.
Because that can inspire also, solutions to things that are important to you. Like, so for example, it could be like, I want to learn how to grow my brand on social media. You could have a conversation with someone that could change your perspective to think about it in a different way. And instead of saying, how do I get big? You might be saying, how can I create content that resonates with an audience I'm trying to go after? So it's just, there's derivatives.
Man, I can already tell that Bali is going to be, it's going to treat you so well.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, I hope so, man.
Let's get out of here, man.
All right, cool. Thanks for the convo.
Of course. More convos soon.